What if I told you, lurking in the shadows of a quiet Russian town, lived a man with a macabre secret? In the heart of the serene city of Nizhny Novgorod, Russia, where life ambled along at a tranquil pace, a chilling tale was about to unfold. This is the tale of Anatoly Moskvin, a man who, on the surface, was an esteemed linguist and historian. He was a respected member of his community, and his profound knowledge of cemeteries earned him the moniker the Necropolist. His life, to the casual observer, seemed fairly ordinary. Days filled with research, nights filled with writing. His academic pursuits and quiet demeanor gave no hint of the eerie obsession that consumed him. The townsfolk saw a scholar, a recluse perhaps, but nothing more. Yet there was more, much more. Hidden away from the prying eyes of the world, Moskvin was nurturing a dark fascination. But beneath this facade of normalcy, Moskvin harbored a chilling obsession. To understand the man, we must first dive into his past. Anatoly Moskvin was born in 1966 in the historic city of Nizhny Novgorod, Russia. His childhood was anything but ordinary, marked by a peculiar fascination with the macabre. Moskvin found solace not in playgrounds or classrooms, but among tombstones and crypts. His fascination with cemeteries was not a fleeting curiosity, it was an obsession that would shape the course of his life. The seeds of this obsession were sown early. A chilling incident from his childhood serves as a haunting footnote to his story. At just 12 years old, Moskvin was forced to kiss a dead girl during a funeral procession. This eerie encounter with death left an indelible mark on him. It germinated a morbid fascination that would grow to define his life and ultimately his infamy. Yet Moskvin was not merely a man consumed by his dark obsessions. He was also a highly educated individual, a linguist, and a respected scholar. He held a doctorate in Celtic studies and was known for his extensive knowledge of local cemeteries. His intellectual prowess and academic achievements earned him a reputation as an eccentric intellectual. However, beneath the veneer of respectability, his obsession with death lurked, growing darker and more intense with each passing day. Moskvin's life was an unsettling blend of intellect and obsession. His academic pursuits were interspersed with his compulsion to explore and document cemeteries. He claimed to have visited over 750 cemeteries, spending countless hours among the tombstones, the epitaphs whispering tales of lives long past. Yet despite his eccentricities, no one could have predicted the ghastly path his life would take. His fascination with death was not merely academic or philosophical. It was prurient, a dark desire that would soon manifest in the most horrifying of ways. This unusual fascination with death would soon take a dark turn. This was the early life of Anatoly Moskvin, a man whose name would soon become synonymous with a chilling tale of obsession and necromancy. In 2011, the tranquil life of Nizhny Novgorod was shattered by a horrifying discovery. That year, the local police force embarked on a raid that would unearth a chilling secret in the quaint Russian city. In the heart of a nondescript apartment, concealed behind the facade of normalcy, lay a ghastly sight. Anatoly Moskvin, a respected academic, had been harboring a disturbing secret. Within his humble abode, the police discovered 26 mummified bodies of young girls. The unsettling sight of the lifeless bodies, dressed in bright clothing and arranged in a chilling display, was a stark contrast to the man's scholarly reputation. The depth of Moskvin's macabre activities was shocking. His victims, who ranged from 3 to 15 years old, were plucked from their eternal rest in local cemeteries. Then, in a grotesque mockery of life, he mummified their remains, preserving them for his own twisted purposes. The process of mummification was disturbingly elaborate. Moskvin would excavate the bodies, carefully removing them from their coffins. He then treated their remains with a mix of salt and baking soda, leaving them to dry for weeks. Once the bodies were mummified, he dressed them in bright clothes, their faces covered with wax masks. But the horror didn't end there. Moskvin installed music boxes inside the bodies, creating a jarring symphony of sounds that echoed through his apartment. He arranged them in a haunting tableau around his living quarters, treating them as though they were his own children. As the reality of his depraved actions sank in, the town was thrown into a state of shock. The man they had known as a scholar, an intellectual, a historian, was now revealed as a monster. The horror that had taken place in the quiet apartment was beyond comprehension. The respected scholar was now the town's worst nightmare. But what could possibly drive a man to commit such heinous acts? Peering into the abyss of Anatoly Moskvin's psyche unveils a chilling motive rooted in delusion and a bizarre belief in the supernatural. Moskvin, a self-proclaimed expert in Celtic culture and black magic, held the firm conviction that he could resurrect the dead. This wasn't just a fleeting thought or a hopeful belief. No, this was an unshakable faith that sat at the very core of his being. Moskvin truly believed that by studying ancient Celtic methods of resurrection and applying them to his stolen mummies, he could breathe life back into these departed souls. But the madness doesn't stop there. In the twisted labyrinth of Moskvin's mind, he saw himself as a liberator. He claimed that the voices of the dead girls reached out to him, pleading and begging him to free them from the cold, dark confines of their graves. He saw himself as their savior, their knight in shining armor, rescuing them from an eternity of silence and darkness. He believed that by removing them from their graves, dressing them in brightly colored clothes, and including them in his daily life, he was providing these lost souls with a second chance at life, a chance they were cruelly denied. But the voices, the pleas, the cries for help, they were all a product of his deluded mind. In reality, these were innocent girls ripped from their eternal rest, their families left to grapple with the horror of their loved ones' desecration. Yet, in the convoluted narrative Moskvin had spun for himself, he was not the villain. He was the misunderstood hero, the misunderstood protagonist, the misunderstood rescuer. In his own words, he was waiting for science to find ways for these girls to live again. In his twisted mind, Moskvin believed he was their savior. As the truth unfolded, the town was left reeling from the shocking revelations. The aftermath of Anatoly Moskvin's unearthly deeds sent tremors of disbelief and horror through the community. The man they had known as a respected historian and linguist was now the perpetrator of a chilling series of crimes that would forever tarnish his name and legacy. The discovery of 26 mummified young girls in Moskvin's apartment, each treated with a disturbing reverence, sparked a wildfire of public outcry. Parents of the deceased were left grappling with a fresh wave of grief, their children's resting places violated in the most unimaginable way. The wider community was left questioning how such a gruesome operation could have gone undetected for so long. The trial was swift, and the evidence against Moskvin was overwhelming. His own admission, coupled with the macabre spectacle discovered within his home, left no room for doubt. The court proceedings were marked by a sense of surreal horror, as details of Moskvin's grotesque obsession were laid bare. However, due to his diagnosed paranoid schizophrenia, Moskvin was declared unfit to stand trial. Instead, he was committed to a high-security psychiatric hospital, where he is to remain indefinitely. This decision was met with mixed reactions. Some saw it as a just resolution, others felt it was too lenient a sentence for a man who had caused so much devastation. The case of Anatoly Moskvin serves as a chilling reminder that monsters can often hide in plain sight. Beneath the veneer of a respected academic was a man who committed unspeakable acts of desecration against the innocent. His story continues to haunt the annals of true crime, a testament to the darkest corners of human obsession. In the end, the tranquil town was left to pick up the pieces, forever shadowed by the gruesome reality of what had transpired within its boundaries. Anatoly Moskvin, a man of intellect, was also a man of unimaginable horror. And that chilling truth will forever echo through the streets of Nizhny Novgorod. In the end, what can we take away from this chilling tale? Anatoly Moskvin, a man of intellect and seeming normalcy, harbored a dark obsession. He was a paradox, a scholar who walked among us in daylight, yet at night he descended into a world of necromancy. His clandestine activities left a lasting scar on the city of Nizhny Novgorod and the families of the 26 young girls whose peace he disturbed. This tale is a stark reminder of the contrast between public personas and private obsessions. It's a tale that prompts us to question the depths of human psychology, the limits of obsession, and the consequences of unchecked mental health issues. The sorrow and horror experienced by the victims' families are unimaginable, and their pain echoes the need for vigilance and understanding in our society. Anatoly Moskvin's story serves as a chilling reminder that sometimes monsters live among us.